Big car, big price. Small car, small price. Not always. Hey guys, Stype here with a list of the most expensive small cars ever made. Let's go! Aston Martin Signet. It's probably the first thing that pops into anyone's mind when I say small, expensive car. It's essentially a Toyota IQ with some Aston Martin badges, design details, and a lot of hand-stitched leather. And how much for all of this? Oh, that's twice as much as the ordinary Toyota. Aston defended this price hike by saying that it takes over 150 hours to put the little Signet together. The paint is as high quality as you get on the 177 Hyper GT, and the same is true for the leather interior. Just for example, so you understand, if an insect bit the cow, that part of the leather can't be used anymore. But what about the buyers for the Signet? Did they bite too? Not at all.
Well, it's a lot for me.
During the 3-year-long production, only 145 people bought one, which is a massive fail when you learn that they were hoping to sell 4,000 per year. Honestly, this surprised me a little bit. A small car is almost a necessity in most European cities. Why else would anyone buy a smart car? And if you're super rich, why not buy a posh rival too? You're gonna tell me that rich people suddenly care about prices? When did that happen? P.S. There was also this crazy V8 prototype, and if you want one for yourself, Aston is willing to build you another, for $500,000. Needless to say, there were no takers. Audi A1 Quattro. But the Signet wasn't the only premium super mini out there. Audi too gave it a try with their A1. Not quite as exclusive, so expectedly not as expensive either, but it still comes with a premium price tag. Compared to its mechanical twin from Skoda, it's clear just how much you're paying for the 4 rings badge. The boss of Audi probably explained it best. This is not a cheap Audi, it's just a small one. Naturally, the sporty S1 version will cost you some more dough, but if you wanted a top dog, you had to cash out almost double that. This, my friends, is a very limited, very forgotten A1 Quattro, which shares almost nothing with that Skoda, or even a regular A1 for that matter. There are some 600 new parts that make this pocket rocket oh so special. Both the 250 horsepower engine as well as most of the suspension came from the TTS, or should I say, TTS? The brakes are larger, and so are the fully functional intakes and vents too. The titular Quattro all-wheel drive system comes from the world of rallying. And the same goes for this sweet-looking set of turbine wheels and a sizable wing too. Essentially, it's like a super expensive GR Yaris long before the GR Yaris was even a thing. And while everyone is raving about the Toyota, be honest with me now, how many of you have ever even seen or heard of the A1 Quattro? For shame, for shame. VW Golf R33. Yet another very limited, very expensive small car is this not green, not yellow either, fast Golf. Okay, it may not be as small as the other cars on this list, but that's just what happens to all cars over time. They grow in size as well as power. And so what started as a petite hot hatch in the 80s is now extremely capable all-wheel drive Uber hatchback with over 300 horses. The price? 45 grand. Jeez! But that's just the normal one. The not green, not yellow R333 is, I don't know how to lube this up for you, so here goes. 81,000. 81! Are you kidding me? You can buy a Corvette for that kind of money. So what do you get for this amount? All the optional extras come as standard now. The engine makes 12 more horses, tires have fewer grooves, and the exhaust tips have these little titanium sleeves. That is all. And that's just stupid. If for some reason you really must have an Uber hatch, you'll be better off with any of these two. More power, more speed, more badge, and yet less price. You have to be certifiably crazy to buy the Golf, and that's the worst part of this story. The entire production of 333 examples was sold out in just 8 minutes. Literal insanity. I know to each their own and all, but look at the bigger picture. In a democracy, their votes counts as much as yours. God help us all. Smart Brabus Ultimate E. And much like the R333, this Smart Brabus Ultimate isn't a very smart purchase either. In case you don't know, Brabus is a German tuner house that specializes in making the mad AMG Mercs even madder. And since Smart is a subsidiary of Mercedes, they've been poking the 4.2 with their Go Fast stick as well. The thing is, there's only so much you can extract from a 3-cylinder Smart engine, but that never stopped Brabus from giving it ridiculously oversized wheels and a whole set of aero thingies that do nothing. Just look at what they did with this Ultimate 125 edition. Remember that guy who injected synthol into his muscles to look bigger? Well, this is the same thing. And if you think that 125 horses in a car this size is much, somehow it isn't. 0 to 60 still takes over 9 seconds. I got a cousin who can take a shit faster than that. True story, by the way. Worse still is the electric version of the Ultimate E, with just 90 horses. It's even slower. In fact, it's as fast as a regular non-Brabus version, since you can't tune an electric motor yet. Also, the range is just 70 miles, give or take, and Brabus still has the balls, nay, the audacity to charge 55 grand for it. Just buy a normal one. You'll be less of a laughingstock for sure. Not much, but still less. LCC Junior Cars. A history lesson for you first. Back when Mr. Bugatti was still around, he made a birthday gift for his 4-year-old son, a half-size electric replica of the Type 35 racer. Aw, cute, isn't it? It was a one-off, but when other rich people's spoiled brats saw it, they wanted one too. And so the so-called Bugatti baby went into a surprisingly long production, 1927 to 1936. Almost a century later, Bugatti decided to bring it back, and for that, they commissioned a little car company from Britain. This new Bugatti Baby 2 is slightly larger, coming in at 75% of the original size, but the rest is once again a pretty faithful copy of the legendary racer. This one too turned out to be a huge hit, and that made the little car company quite famous as well. Soon after, Aston Martin approached them to build some downsized DB5s, fitted with the 007 gizmos and all. I'm talking Gatling guns that shoot blanks, LCD shifting number plates, and a smoke screen that comes out of the tailpipes. It's actually kinda cool. But the crowning achievement has to be getting Ferrari's blessing to build a replica of the old Testarossa. Ferrari is more trigger-happy than a Scientologist when it comes to suing people, so you can imagine how impressed they were with this junior edition when they allowed it to go into production. Pretty good. Prices? Bing, bang, boom! Well, you know what they say, boys never grow up. Their toys just become more expensive. Dango T600. This thing may look goofy and dorky and lame and stupid, but trust me, the Dango T600 is a very clever idea indeed. Well, halfway. It's something like the Renault Twizy, in the way that it sits 2 people, one behind the other. That makes it very narrow and perfect for tackling those insufferable city congestions. It's also electric, but that's where the similarities end. While the Twizy is a product of a huge corporation that can spend some proper cash on proper designers, the Tango is a brainchild of just one man called Rick, who had to sell this boat in order to kickstart the project. That's why the headlights look like they came off a Dodge van, while the taillights are from some SUV, I presume. These 2 glass surfaces seem to be from 2 different cars as well, and the rest of the body, although from carbon fiber, looks more like melted Tupperware if you ask me. So yeah, it's a Frankenstein, both visually and structurally, but at least it's exciting to drive, because the T600 has 805 horses. 800! What? 700 just wasn't enough? What the f***? And I don't care that it has a NASCAR-approved roll cage, and that it won't flip on its side because all the weight is at the bottom, and I don't care that the handling was tuned by the racing experts from ProDrive. With 800 horses on tap, this thing looks more dangerous than an OceanGate sub. Worse yet, it costs $300,000. Again, the sub seems like a better deal.
I'd make that deal. I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Now, before I reveal my number 1, here are some honorable mentions. See if you can guess them. And at number 1, Restomod Rallying Legends. Restomods are restored old classics that have been modernized with new engines, new tech, and in many cases, even an aero. At first, such conversions were frowned upon because you would end up ruining a valuable classic in the process, but ever since Singer came up with their 911 reimagined, the feelings have dramatically changed. Suddenly, everyone wants a modern version of their favorite old car, no matter the price. And so, we now have resto mods of some of the greatest rallying legends too. I'm talking about the Renault 5 Turbo, the 205 GTI, the Lancia Delta, and even the original Mini. The R5 Turbo is my favorite one of the bunch because just look at that ass. It's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. This has to be one of the meanest looking hatchbacks ever made, and the most expensive ones too. The price is a guarded secret, which is just another way of saying tax the rich high. The Delta Futurista is a nice, cool $350,000, which is also a lot. But I mean, come on, who could say no to this? As for the Mini, there's nothing mini about its price either, around $100,000. It's not a question of whether it's worth it, but how many die-hard fans are out there. And lastly, the 205 GTI by Tolman. It is the closest to the original. Same design plus the aircon, phone connectivity, and improved performance. That's it. Still, it takes 700 hours to finish one, and the price is 70 grand. Considering that this is one of the greatest hot hatchbacks ever made, and then improved, and it's also a classic, 70 sounds like a good deal for those who absolutely love it. And there are many. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Cut! Come on, let's go!